Hey, Lindsay, how are you?
I'm doing great, Aubrey. How are you? What's going on today?
I am excellent. I feel kind of sick because yesterday I ate 5 donuts, which is
Five?
crazy. I
Wait, are you
know.
serious? Or are you just telling that as a
I know I
story?
really, okay, it wasn't yesterday. It was about a week ago.
Oh,
So,
no.
because it's so perfect for our episode, but I am really moreish, they say, where I can't just eat
Ooh,
one.
good
What about
word.
you, Lindsay? If you have like a box of cookies, can you just eat one?
Well, for me, cookies are a little different than donuts because,
Like now, were we talking about donuts or cookies? Because
yeah,
that changes things.
yeah. Cookies, I struggle to eat one, of course. Oh my gosh, especially if they have big chunks of chocolate chip and peanut butter. Ah, the good stuff. Oatmeal
Oh,
raisin cookies, I could leave
same.
them, right? Leave it, take it or leave it. But
Same, but
yeah,
oatmeal chocolate chip. Ooh, now you're talking. I know I
good
can never
stuff.
eat even like a couple cookies. I always have to eat several,
Yeah,
especially if
you
they're
just
little.
a couple of cookies, just a couple. You always say you're going to have a couple of cookies and you end up having the whole box, right?
The
This is
whole
just what
box.
happens.
I
So,
know. I'm so bad about that.
but donuts, I get more full. They're just like a little bit bigger, right?
I know.
Donut
So it was
holes.
over the course of a day. Like I had one in the morning and
Wow.
then another one, and the box was just there. And by the end of the day, I was like, why do I feel sick? What did I eat today?
That's
I think
so
I ate
funny.
5 donuts today.
Okay, we know your weakness.
Right. Oh, I love donuts. Oh my goodness. All right, guys, this is really an interesting topic. We had a listener write in about quantity words. So you heard us use several of them there, right? We're going to dive into a couple, few, and several. And it's not as easy as you might think because
Okay.
there's implied meaning by some of them. So we are going to dive into that.
Oh man, I'm glad we're talking about this today because I bet our listeners really do struggle, right? So, one more time, can you list the ones we're going to talk about? It's a couple of,
Mhm.
several, and what else?
A few.
A few. Okay, got it. I'm ready. Let's get into
Okay. Let's
it.
read the question here, first of
Okay.
all.
All right.
Okay, native English speakers often use a couple of. Judging from
Mhm.
the context, I mostly get the impression that this conveys the same meaning as several, more than two. But way back in high school, my English teacher insisted that a couple of always meant two, since it is a couple, like a pair. But I always felt that's not quite right, at least not anymore. My high school English teacher was not a native speaker, but a German who had studied English in the UK. Maybe they are somewhat different. Lately, I've heard you guys saying, I'll give you a couple of examples. And in one episode, then you gave two. So does a couple of really mean two, or could it also mean more than two? It's funny because I could see them asking, saying, you said I would give a couple examples, and then one time you gave two, and one time you gave three.
Just not fair. It's not fair, right?
It's not fair because it's not an exact science, guys, right?
Yeah. I want to say a special thank you to our listener. Do we have the listener's name who wrote this in? We
No, they
don't have
didn't
that.
send their name. I
Oh,
know, or we didn't save it.
bummer.
I apologize.
Yeah, guys, send in your questions. Send it to Lindsay at allearsenglish.com and include your name, let us say your name on the show because we appreciate our listeners who send in
Yes.
good questions.
Yeah,
This
it's
is a
fun to get that
fantastic
shout out.
question.
I know. If you left this question, comment on the blog, on our social media. Let us know that it was your question because it is a good one.
It's a really good one. Fantastic. All right. Well, let's set the record straight here, Aubrey. What do we think?
Yes, right. So these words are determiners, they're modifying nouns. The first one we'll dive into is a couple of, which does usually mean two, right? And it comes from, just like this listener asked, two partners who are dating or married, we call them a couple. So
Mhm.
usually when we say couple, we mean two. However, this is tricky because when it comes to expressing quantity with the word couple, it's certainly not exact, right? We're less
Yeah.
precise when it comes to time and amounts of things. So when I
Uh,
say a couple of minutes, right, I'll be there in a couple minutes. Does that necessarily mean two, Lindsay?
no,
No.
not always. Not always, especially when you told a story earlier with your kids when you tell them you'll be there in a couple minutes and then it ends up being 20.
20,
What
30
happens?
minutes.
They get
Yes,
upset.
exactly. They get upset and they're like, I thought a couple meant two. It's been half an hour, right? And
Yeah.
so often we use couple of this way to de-emphasize the length, right? If you want to say
Okay.
it'll just be a couple minutes, you know it's going to be more than two,
It's not
but
going
you're
to be
not
soon.
wanting it to sound like a lot. You're wanting to make it sound like a shorter amount of time.
I mean, life is all about how you present things, right? I love that concept. We're always selling something in the world, right? And you, in that case, we're selling that extra time to your kids,
Totally.
right? And so
Totally.
you're always running a marketing campaign.
It's so true. That's how mom life, right?
I
But then
love it.
also think about cookies, right? If
Mm-hmm.
I, let's say I ate 7 cookies, and
Yeah.
then I might say, I ate a couple cookies this afternoon. Right? I'm not
Yeah.
going to, I don't know that I would ever say I ate several cookies because that sounds like so many. I'm wanting to make it sound smaller. So I'm sort
Yeah.
of reverse exaggerating by saying
Yeah.
I ate a couple cookies, no big deal.
Yeah. So it's kind of broad. I mean, again, it can mean many things, guys, when it comes to time, amount of time, and things. But again, going back to the original example, two people dating or married is a couple. So that's how we come back to the two. That's always the same, right?
Yes,
Most of the
yes.
time, pretty much.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. What
Now,
else?
quick note, right? That you will often hear natives say a couple cookies or a couple minutes, and you hear them drop the of.
Yeah. What's
But
that
keep
all
in
about?
mind that this is just because natives speak quickly, right? We're often dropping things, dropping the ends of words, dropping letters. But if you're going to write this grammatically, it's correct to have it be with the of, a couple of. So learn it as that chunk, a couple of minutes, a couple of cookies. But in informal speech, natives drop it, you can drop it. But if you're
Yes.
writing an email or a letter, you would want to include a couple of meetings.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Guys, there's spoken English and then there's written English, right? We need to
Right.
know the difference. But to really connect with natives and to, feel familiar, you can totally drop that couple of, okay?
Mhm.
Can I have a couple cookies? Right? Can I have a couple
Exactly.
cookies? It just flows. There's no
It does.
time to say, can I have a couple of cookies? Okay.
Right. We don't have time for that extra syllable.
No, we want the cookies already.
Give me the cookies. Okay, so let's dive into a few. Usually a few means three, but same thing. We are pretty flexible here, right? If I say I'll be ready in a few minutes, that could mean 20, that could mean 30. I'm going to eat a few cookies, that could mean 20 or 30.
Yeah. So I guess usually it means three, right? As you said, but
in general, it means three.
But it could definitely mean two. It could mean 4, 5, right?
Mhm.
A few minutes. Love it.
Yep.
So good.
And again, we might say it to make the amount sound smaller, right?
Yes.
I'll be ready in just a few minutes when you know it's going to be half an hour.
A couple minutes, a few minutes. Exactly. It's more about knowing the person who's saying that thing, right? What does that tend to mean for that person?
Exactly. Right? How honest are you about how long you're going to take?
Aubrey, are you really slow getting ready? Like if you're going to go out on a date with your husband, for example, do you do the whole thing? Are you slow to get ready? Or do you just are you like, okay, throw on my shoes, my pants, ready, go.
That's me.
I'm
I'm
out the
so
door.
fast, right?
Okay.
I'm like, quick shower, quick get ready. I ain't got time for that. It doesn't take me long. My poor husband would probably prefer that I put in more time, but too bad.
That's funny. I love that. I'm the same way. I don't do a lot of makeup. I don't do a lot of stuff with my hair. I just go out the door.
Right. I'm just so likable that you just got to love me as is. This is the best you're going to get.
I mean, kind of. I don't love the idea of just putting on a whole other face for the world and not being yourself, right? It's sort of, I don't know.
Well, and a lot of younger women or celebrities, they're practically painting on a whole new face. So then when you see them, I actually just saw a picture of Kim Kardashian next to a picture of her without makeup, and I didn't even recognize her. She looked like a totally different person.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, because they paint on everything.
Oh, wow.
So
I didn't know that.
I mean, that's to each their own.
Yeah.
You go do you, Kim, but I don't want to do that. I don't have time. And
yeah, that's a good expression, to each their own. What does that mean? Just as a side bonus for our listeners?
That I don't judge her for that, right? I feel like everyone is allowed to make choices and do what they want to do. So when I say to each their own, I'm saying I am totally fine with her doing that and making that choice for her, but it's not what I would do.
I love it. So good. Guys, write that one down. There's always great bonus vocabulary coming out of these episodes here. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Let's
so our
go
last
to the next one.
Is several, right? This means more than three. And this, we wouldn't say I'll be ready in several minutes, or I'm going to eat several cookies, because then we're emphasizing that it's going to be more, right?
Yeah.
So we often use this when we want to emphasize how many there are, right? If you say, I can think of several examples.
Yes.
Maybe you can only think of 2 or 3, but you don't want to say, I can only think of a few examples. You're sort of wanting to exaggerate how many you can think of.
So you always want people to think you have more ideas,
Maybe,
right?
Or how about, I did several chores today.
Okay. Where maybe you actually did one, right?
Yeah. Maybe 2, maybe 3, but I don't want to, I'm not going to be like, I did a couple of chores.
Yeah. Do you use several? I mean, to me, it feels a little bit formal. It feels to me a little too formal.
It is a little more formal. Here's where I see it used often. if someone is being introduced and you're never going to say like, they have won a few awards, they have written a few books. That's where you're going to say several. They have won several awards and have written several books,
Yes.
especially if they've written more than 3,
Yeah.
because you don't want to, it almost sounds rude to under represent the amount when it's something that they would be proud of, right?
That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah.
So it is a little bit more formal, but yeah, I definitely use it if I'm talking about something that I want to emphasize how much there was. I would say several.
I love that. It's so good to have this vocabulary, guys, in your back pocket. Introducing someone is really important, right? It's really important the way you present what they've done, right?
For sure, right? You don't want to belittle them or their accomplishments, especially if you're going to have them present to people that you want to be impressed by their accolades, which means, all of their accomplishments and awards. You want to make sure to emphasize that, right?
I love that.
We also want to point you guys to Lindsay and I. We recorded an episode some months back, episode 1380, where we talked about the difference between few, a few, and little, which is a little bit related here because we talked about few. So if you missed that one, it's really, really excellent. So episode 1380.
Yes, I love it. Go and find that episode once we finish this one today, guys. So you can go a little deeper, right? With this few, a little, several. You really want to deepen your knowledge here because this matters. You're going to use this stuff all the time.
Oh yeah. We use these words all the time. Okay. Let's do a role play, Lindsay.
All right, here we go. So here you and I are about to head into a meeting. And you, Aubrey, you are trying to finish up a project at your desk. Oh, it's so frustrating when you're trying to finish something and you have to go do something else.
Yes, I know. It's so hard.
All right, here we go. The meeting is starting. Are you coming?
Yes, I'll be there in a couple minutes.
You've been late to several meetings this month.
No, just a few.
Okay, but we're doing several fun icebreaker questions to start this meeting, and I don't want you to miss it.
Oh, fun. I'll hurry. I'll just be a few minutes.
Okay, I'll see you there. Several important agenda items today. There are several important agenda items today. So hurry up.
Nice. I love it. You're like, I'm going to be late. So it's like, let me say this another way.
Yeah, exactly.
Say this another way, but really you need to come now. Like stop
exactly. You should be walking, right? You should be on your way.
Well, follow me here.
Yeah, I love it. So good.
Okay. So first I said, you're asking if I'm coming and I said, I'll be there in a couple minutes. So even if I know I'm going to take 20 minutes, I'm saying a couple because I don't want you to think I'm going to be late. I don't want you to think it's going to be a long time.
Exactly. And notice here, guys, if you have the app, if you're listening on the app, Android or iOS, you will be able to see this in the transcripts. But notice that Aubrey said, yes, I'll be there in a couple minutes, not a couple of minutes. Right?
Because this is spoken English. I'm in a hurry. I'm working on something. I'm not going to take that time to say a couple of minutes.
There's no time. You should be spending that time working on your stuff.
Yes, get it done so you can get to the meeting.
Exactly. And then I said, this sounds a little bit reprimanding, right? You've been late to several meetings this month. Okay.
It is, right. And you're feeling like there's a bunch. You've been late to a bunch of meetings.
Several.
And I say, no, just a few. Maybe it's 7, but I'm trying to make it sound like less.
And I'm trying to make it sound like more. Exactly. So that's interesting. So it's all about the angling, right? We're creating our own angles on things. So interesting. And then I said, okay, but we're doing several fun icebreaker questions to start this meeting, and I don't want you to miss it.
Yeah. So that you're wanting to emphasize like this would be a perfect thing to say to me because that sounds really fun to me. I don't want to miss that. And if you say, we're doing a few of these, not as exciting. We're doing several to emphasize how many there are. Ooh, that might hook me in.
Oh, okay. It's not enough just to say that we're playing games. I have to say we're playing several games to get you there, right?
Yes. Well, that's more appealing for sure.
I love it. Okay, good. And then you said, oh, now your mind has changed and you're ready to go. Right?
Yes. Okay. Oh, fun. I'll hurry. I'll just be a few minutes.
Okay. You're still writing at your desk though. And then I say, okay, I'll see you there. Several important agenda items today are on the agenda today, right? So hurry up. Okay, good. Yeah. So that again, I don't know why that several is feeling very formal to me, but again, we're in an office setting. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I'm also wondering if this might be more geographic. I definitely grew up, we say several all the time. And it could be that you didn't as much, maybe in college or at work.
Oh, yeah.
So that would be interesting to know.
Yeah,
'Cause
guys,
it
if
sounds
you
a little off to you, right?
it sounds off. It sounds not very conversational.
Interesting.
But guys, pay attention to our language. We have slightly different nuances, but we're
Mhm.
representing American English from two different corners of the country, right? So this is fantastic. I love it.
So now in future podcast episodes, you guys are probably going to notice
Yeah.
that I'll say several here and there, and
Mhm.
Lindsay maybe won't, right? Because we
Yeah.
have this interesting nuance to how we grew up speaking.
I love it. So good. So what's a takeaway for our listeners? What should we leave them with?
Yeah, these words seem so simple, right? Couple,
Mm.
few, several, but they actually convey a lot of meaning. And there's implied meaning that
Yes.
you maybe wouldn't be aware of until you heard this podcast, right? We choose which one we use based on the impression we want to give of whether something is small and insignificant, or if we want to imply that it's bigger and more important. So you want to practice using these words in context so that you can make connections with them.
Yeah, I mean, vocabulary is that connection tool you need. And again, like I said before, we're always convincing people of something. We're always kind of showing them different angles of ourselves. That's just how humans are, right?
Yep.
So this is giving you a chance to do that and have these tools, guys. So good.
Exactly. Awesome.
So good.
Don't eat 5 donuts.
Yeah, that's the moral of the story today.
Just
You must
eat
have been
a couple donuts.
you must have been in sugar shock or something.
I probably was by the end of that night. I know. I clearly don't pay enough attention to what I'm taking into my body.
Clearly. All right. We'll have to work on that. All right.
Right.
Well, thanks for hanging out today, Aubrey. This has been great. I'll see you next time.
Bye.
Take care.